We open with a box containing a baby being placed under a pool table, which may sound familiar if you've been paying attention.
It was found under a pool table in a box.
And someone finds it.
They've written its name on the side here. Ouroboros.
The way it's spelt, he must have been thicker than a ticket sells wood.
Someone who isn't very smart.
I wonder what'll become of him. Something terrible, no doubt.
Cut to Lister brushing and shaving at the same time, then plucking nose hairs with salad tongs. That's another thing that was referenced in an earlier episode.
What did you do to upset him? Absolutely nothing. I was just sitting there minding my own business, plucking out my lengthier nostril hairs with a pair of cooking tongs.
Then a cap comes out.
Well, it'll take about half an hour to prepare some dental adhesive.
I'll give you some wood glue. You can redo it in the morning.
Meanwhile, Crichton finds a rather effeminate robe that he eventually plans on altering to look less feminine for Lister, so he has him try it on.
Women of the agony of childbirth, and we have...
Anyway, Lister has put the cap back in with wood glue and immediately tries to floss.
What is wrong with me?
I mean, you could cut some of the floss off so it's less noticeable in the meantime. Anyway, something unusual has shown up on the radar, so they go to check it out. It's coming right at them, and there's no time to veer away from it.
I suggest we treat it like a tidal wave, sir, and head straight for the eye of the storm.
Go for it, man.
So they go right in.
But I'm picking up some kind of subspace energy disturbance down on the engineering deck.
So now there's a portal in the engineering deck that leads to a space between dimensions.
What the hell is that?
Non-space, sir. An abyss of infinite nothingness, where time doesn't seem to exist.
Sounds like Rimmer's organ recital night.
Rimmer, gone but not forgotten. In any case, now they're being confronted with a version of themselves from a parallel dimension. This version of Lister is a hologram.
So in your dimension, Lister died?
In the radiation leak that wiped out Red Dwarf.
Remember coming back from shore leave on Mimas?
Where the hell have you been? I've reported you as AWOL.
Like I said, not forgotten.
She's class. And you? What are you? I don't mean to sound cruel, but in comparison, you're scum. And second-rate scum at that.
Anyway, it's revealed that when Lister was on shore leave, he'd done it to get over his breakup with Kochanski.
No ha-ha.
Remember, people who say ha-ha have no sense of humour. They just can't think of a witty retort.
Oh ha-ha.
Also, the full-on Rimmer salute is back.
Rimmer,
Yes, ma'am.
have sex with someone and that's an order.
Yes, ma'am. Right away, ma'am.
Anyway, we find out that Kochanski had broken up with him through a Dear John letter.
Look, there's more to life than hanging out in your bunk, eating delivery curries and having fantastic sex.
And she left him for a guy named Tim, who was apparently also mentioned in Sirens,
She discarded you for a catering officer.
just not by name.
That guy is such a poser. The way he always wears that white suit and that stupid big white floppy hat.
He's a chef.
Either way, he's gonna come up again.
I just think that perhaps if you would...
So in this version, when Lister snuck Frankenstein on board, he was caught by Kochanski, who confiscated her. Off topic, but I love Lister's shades. However, I'm really bothered by the fact that Frankenstein is a kitten here. The entire reason the cat race started was because Lister smuggled a pregnant cat on board, and clearly this cat is way too young to be pregnant. I guess they made it a kitten so it'd be extra cute and maybe it'd be more convincing that Kochanski couldn't bring herself to destroy it. But Frankenstein apparently not pregnant when brought on board really fucks with the continuity. It's just weird to me that they went to the trouble of showing how the cat race can exist without Lister in the picture, but they kind of left out the most important detail. Also, holy shit, that looks far too much like a microwave.
Just don't get caught or I'm out cold for 6 months, okay?
Ha, what a softie. So yeah, in this timeline, Kochanski was the one who ended up in stasis. Lister was killed with the rest of the crew and was later brought back as a hologram, which means that Kochanski was the one who survived the disaster that killed the rest of the Red Dwarf crew. And of course she shows up while Lister looks like this.
You're an alternate version of Dave.
Well, I like to think of myself as a definitive version, you know. Honed to perfection by time and evolution.
In any case, they want to exchange supplies and help each other out however they can while the rift is still open.
There is something you could do for us.
Also, Kochanski has kind of an awkward request.
At some point, I'll want to have children. Perhaps you could
Yeah?
fill this up.
I'd rather be standing a bit closer. So it worked out for you guys then. Couldn't be more happy. Well outside a major dental surgery with a rusty knife.
I just remembered that in Dimension Jump, Lister said he was okay with an alternate version of himself being with Kochanski.
Whatever he did that I didn't, he deserves the lot. For me, it kind of makes sense of a load of stuff.
It's a little different when you're confronted with it, huh, Lister? Anyway, here's a literal blast from the past. Remember Lister's Gelf bride who he ran away from in Emohawk, and how the Gelf tribe leader swore revenge? Well, however interesting their timing is, the Gelfs have found them. They blow a hole in the portal between where the two groups are standing, and Kochanski falls into it. Hologram Lister can't quite get to her, but our Lister is able to do it in kind of a weird way. That is some strong wood glue. So the Gelf ship destroys the portal, and Kochanski is separated from her crew. I never noticed before, but I'm sort of amused that Crichton made it a point to get her jacket.
I thought I'd lost you.
So Kochanski wakes up to find Lister hovering over her and assumes it's her Lister.
Sir, I think Miss Kochanski is under the delusion that you're...
Not now, Crichton, man.
Wait a minute. This isn't the Medibay.
I think you must have mistaken me for your Lister.
Oh, that's what I've been trying to tell you all along, sir.
Were you?
Is that the kind of guy you are? Someone who'd take advantage of a woman who's half insensible?
She's not wrong.
Wait, you mean I'm stuck here with you?
Anyway, now she really wants to get back to her own Starbug, but now they're being attacked.
They've sent a scan, sir.
So now Lister realizes which Gelf are attacking, and
My God, it's the missus.
You married this?
Yeah, too.
Kochanski overhears some of it, and of course no one clearly explains to her what exactly happened.
In Gelf law, separation is impossible without special dispensation from...
They really run the whole Gelf language gag into the ground here. I have to admit, though, the first time I saw this, the bit where Crichton sounds like he's trying to cough up a hairball made me laugh so hard I couldn't breathe. Anyway, Kochanski, having been the navigations officer, manages to get them away from the Gelf ship. That was pretty badass. So sometime later, there's talk about how they haven't found Kochanski's ship yet, and Crichton's not happy about it.
She was merely trying you out to compare you with her, Mr. Lister.
And apparently her version of Lister is great.
Actually a soft light hologram, and that's made him sensitive and caring in a way most men aren't. He even enjoys shopping for shoes. A human male who's prepared to have in-depth discussions about relationships.
In a stereotypical what all women in media want kind of way.
She can't stay here, sir. She just can't!
Anyway, Crichton is super jealous of Kochanski in the way that a really insecure, smothering mother would be jealous of her son's girlfriend.
She's gonna take you away from me! I just know it!
Which is cute in theory, but some of the comedy in this bit falls kind of flat for me for some reason. I think I find this voice that Crichton's doing just a little too grating.
I've seen her naked!
Though I get a kick out of his description of her body.
She's got all those in and out bits that you like.
And his totally accurate impression of Kochanski.
So if she walked in here now and took all her clothes off and said, "Ew, make love to me, you horny dude."
Anyway, Lister tries to reassure Crichton that he'd rather fold sheets with him than have sex with Kochanski.
And she's standing there all naked with all the in and out bits going all inny and outy. You're lying!
Oof.
Why can't she be more like Mr. Rimmer? He didn't have any in and out bits hardly at all.
Was that another knock at Rimmer's manhood? I think it was.
That's not gonna change.
Never?
Never.
You're lying!
Yeah, definitely the voice. This is probably the line of the episode, though.
I'm gonna end up on my own again, just like I did on the Nova 5.
You killed the crew, Crichton.
Anyway, Crichton decides to handle his dislike of Kochanski in a more productive way than just whining about it, and tries to help her find her ship. They have an idea of how to locate it, so they get on that. But Kochanski calls him out on said dislike.
I need to know why.
Well, you're not good enough for him, but he doesn't need the likes of you bewitching him with all your in and out bits. All pointy and unnecessary.
Like I said, neurotic, jealous mother.
You've got big problems, you know that.
Well, at least I don't have a ridiculous walk.
Yeah, that's a good one coming from Crichton.
At least I don't walk like this.
Anyway, their argument is interrupted when an alarm goes off, alerting them that the ship has been located.
I can leave!
You can leave!
So contact is made, and they resume what they were going to do with exchanging supplies and such.
18 crates of curry and no pasta at all.
Other Lister is like, oh my god, let's get out of here. Meanwhile, Lister has done what Kochanski requested in the beginning, and now they're saying their goodbyes. She asks if there's any advice he'd like to pass on to the baby, and his response, among other mundane things, is...
Don't go to Sweden, avoid sprouts,
Wow, there's another reference to an earlier episode.
You know damn well sprouts make me choke.
Also, don't jack off after handling chili peppers.
Feels like a bomb's just gone off in your pants. Just make it understand why I'm not there. I don't want it ending up like me.
And now Lister's origin is brought up with the box under the pool table.
I think that's why I spent most of my early life drifting, you know. I didn't have anything to live up to because I didn't know who I was, where I came from.
Aw, that's an interesting look into Lister's motivations, actually.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, who didn't see that coming? So Kochanski leaves as Kat is bringing in a case from the other Starbug.
What's this?
Oh, it's the symbol for infinity, sir. The snake eating its own tail and thus completing the everlasting circle of life that has no beginning or end.
It turns out that it was originally a case for everlasting batteries, and the company was called Ouroboros. That causes Lister to remember what was written on the box he was found in, and he has an epiphany.
The in vitro tube, the one Kochanski's got. The frozen embryo. It's me.
Yes, Lister is his own dad. Don't think that's not gonna come up again.
And Chris is my ex-girlfriend and me mum.
And now he needs to get the test tube back.
Mum, wait!
Oh, Lister, don't call her Mom. So of course the Gelfs show up again at the worst possible time. They destroy the portal again, and Kochanski gets separated from her crew again. But she's determined not to let it happen this time. And that doesn't work out too well for her. But there's still a chance our Lister can save her. They only have about 20 seconds before she's out of reach. So Lister quickly grabs a crossbow and some rope. Ow! Just be glad his aim wasn't worse.
Bastard!
I bought you a drink, but don't think for 1 minute it means I've gone all mushy on you.
Oh god, Crichton's a tsundere. Later on, Kochanski is still determined to find her way back home.
Oh, Mom.
Yes, Crichton?
Welcome aboard.
Forget tsundere, he's just a full-on asshole. Also, best face. 18 months later, Lister uses the time drive to drop himself off under the pool table.
For a long time, you'll think that you were abandoned, but you weren't, man. With us going round and round in time, the human race can never become extinct. I'll see you, son.
Aww. And so ends Ouroboros. So, yeah, Kochanski's back. Obviously played by another actress. I think they couldn't get the original one to come back, so Chloe Annett was cast. I don't really have a preference. Claire Grogan was cuter and seemed nicer and was more likable, but this one definitely has more depth, so it's kind of a trade-off. I'll admit, sometimes I do find her a bit grating, but I think maybe that's the point. She is technically a replacement for Rimmer after all, and while definitely not an exact replacement, she does fill the role of the one crew member that is kind of a black sheep. Either way, she and Lister do have good chemistry. And I know there are fan theories about why she looks different, but I'm not interested in going into them. You all can have whatever you want as your own headcanon. To me, it's just an actor being replaced on a TV show. Happens all the time on network TV. TV Tropes calls it The Other Darren, as a reference to Bewitched, which is probably the most popular example. In that case, I prefer Dick York. As for this episode, it's kind of hit or miss for me. Like I said, some of the comedy falls a little flat, and boy does Crichton's character take a turn I don't like. But the drama was handled really well, and I appreciate that this is an important episode. Lister's origin was revealed, and a new character was brought in one fell swoop, and story-wise, it's interesting. Oh, and fun fact about baby Lister. He was played by Danny John Jules' nephew. They did already have a baby who was supposed to play baby Lister, but apparently he was way more dark-skinned than Craig Charles, so Danny recommended his nephew, so yeah, definitely a better match. So that's about all I have to say about this episode. Like I said, it's hit or miss, but there are some great lines, and the references to earlier episodes are fun. Next up is Ducked Soup. See you then.
It wasn't Ouroboros, it was Ouroboros.
What was?
The message that was written on the side of my box.
You came in a box? That explains everything.